Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Jamie, and this is the best magicians you've never heard of. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today's guest is a comedy magician. He lives in Ottawa, Ontario, fellow Canadian. He's got all kinds of things going on, like his paper magic tricks that just came out. Tips and tricks for magicians is actually where you're going to need to go today if you want to learn the effect that he's teaching today. Everybody, please welcome Ryan Pilling.
For me, magic has been a way that I've learned to express myself. Through magic, I've gained confidence to be able to stand up in front of hundreds or thousands of people and present myself, to share my stories, to challenge my creative brain, and of course, to have fun.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the show. Today we have Ryan Pilling on the show. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for being on the show.
I'm so happy to be a magician that nobody's heard of. There's so little pressure.
You know what? If you ask the average person on the street, name 3 magicians, they're going to have a hard time. So the magicians that nobody's heard of is most of us.
Yeah, I'm probably the 4th most famous magician. That's my problem.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Ryan?
Sure thing. Yeah, I'm currently in Ottawa, Canada. I am Canadian.
Our nation's capital?
The nation's capital. Yeah, we just moved here about 2 years ago. And before that was out west, Calgary. And it's been so interesting to change magic communities. You know, I didn't know what I was getting into, but it's the universal truth of the magic community. There's always a warm and welcoming community, I find, wherever you go.
I agree.
So back in Calgary, I did a lot of magic producing, made a festival that ran 7 years, a magic festival. We brought in big acts to do big shows and produced a lot of my own shows. I am primarily a stage or stand-up magician. I used to do a lot of strolling and close-up corporate stuff. But for the most part, a banquet show or a stage show is kind of where I most like performing.
So when it comes to a close-up show, though, how are your sleight of hand skills?
You know, I used to be good, and I still do everything that I did, 10 years ago, and I kind of stopped actively learning that. So I'm happy to palm cards. I'm happy to, I don't actually do a pass. I don't believe that is a move anyone needs to do for the most part.
I definitely agree with the pass, as a matter of fact. I do use it. However, I believe it is heavily overused. There's so many other ways, and you don't look suspicious.
When it comes to handling cards, one of my absolute favorite guys is John Armstrong. And the reason I love him and his work so much is that he is so hands-off with a deck of cards. Like you see most magicians hold a deck of cards and they're like this the whole time. Mm-hmm. And they're doing all their stuff here. But John Armstrong is like, it's here or it's out on the table and it's free and it's open. And I love that aesthetic of magic.
The more you can give the cards to a different person, the better off you are. Anytime the cards are out of your hand, that's a good thing for you. So my technique, I've gone more towards kind of more of the subtle techniques rather than heavy-handed sleights. Such as? What do you mean by that? Give me an example.
And there was this this anecdotal study that came out. I think it was Andy at the Jerks who did the cross-cut force being one of the most deceptive forces when actually shown to real audiences. Mm-hmm. Because all the other forces looks like you're doing something.
So the only people that ever have a problem with that cross-cut force is other magicians. It's true, because it really is a good force, especially with a little bit of time misdirection. It's absolutely a great force, and people don't use it. They find that the more difficult something is, the better it has to be, which is not true.
That said, when I am performing close-up, most often it's a strolling stand-up environment. So the force I would use is actually a Gary Kurtz move. Canadian, woo!
Woo, Canadians.
Gary Kurtz version of the slip force, which is, when I do magic, I try and think, what am I emphasizing? And in this, I'm emphasizing the fairness of the choice. So everything about this force can be emphasized even more so. So you go through and there's no rushing. You can say stop anywhere you like. Do you want me to go more, 2 more, 3 more? You want me to go back? It doesn't matter. Very fair. There's nothing deceptive or sneaky going on. And you just very slowly lift up exactly where they stopped you. And this is the Gary Kurtz brilliance right there. That's your force card.
Very, very nice. Yes.
So it's a slip force, but it's that subtlety, that Gary Kurtz idea.
Yeah, the little twist makes all the difference.
Just instead of doing the slip force where people like that.
Yeah, it looks awkward. It looks awkward.
It's slow, so I get to emphasize how fair this process is, which I like doing.
So you're a stage guy or a stand-up guy. I watched some of your videos, and again, I know I talked to you recently, and we talked a little bit about some of your stuff. I still come up with the word quirky. I like watching you. You're on stage, and you have everybody's attention, and you're a little silly, funny, but really good, which is fantastic. So tell me about how you came up with that. Is that your personality coming out? Is this something you developed over time?
Yeah, it's absolutely an evolution, and I don't know if you saw a clip that was about a year ago. I did a show called The Suitcase of Wonders at a Fringe festival. And that's kind of the point where I'm at now is that, I mean, we haven't done any shows since then, but this year ago show was really deconstructing of who I am and who I want to be on stage and putting it back together. And I found, by going through that process of ripping everything apart and putting it back together, I became more me, and I became less of a magician. And, I know people always say, oh, I entertain first and magic second, but I want to be a magician, because meeting a magician for someone is a weird thing. Like, that's a special thing that we can do, just meeting someone. They've never met a magician before in their life.
Nobody has.
Cool to meet a magician. So I don't want to not be a magician. I absolutely want to lean into that. In fact, I want to. There's magicians shy away from the stereotype. They don't want to saw people in half or pull a rabbit out of their hat. But you have to temper that with, that's what people want from a magician. It's like a check on their bucket list to see a magician pull a rabbit out of a hat. That's a cool thing for people.
One of my favorite things about being a magician is that we're allowed to have weird shit. We can have things that the normal person, like if I was downtown and doing magic for strangers and I pulled a magic wand out of my back pocket, I'm allowed to have that because I'm a magician, right? If some weirdo just came up and he had a magic wand in his pocket, not so much, right? So as magicians, that's part of the reason I like being a magician, is I can introduce weird things that aren't weird because it's a magic show, which is, in my mind, it's fulfilling. I love being able to do that.
I encourage people to heckle me, actually.
Do you?
I not overtly like that. Like, I don't say please heckle me, but my show from the very beginning, it's like people talk about, or magicians talk about, how it's hard to get volunteers on stage. It can be if you just reach out and try and grab people. Mm-hmm. They're not willing to do that. So I built my show, especially in corporate banquet situations. Nobody wants to go on stage in front of their peers and their coworkers and their boss. So I developed a whole show that slowly warms them up to the idea of participating. And it starts with really low risk stuff. I have people help me from their seat. They don't have to leave their seat, but I start interacting directly with people. And it shows them, oh, I'm friendly. I'm not trying to embarrass anybody. And so I go from that. Then I have someone actually physically get involved at their seat. And then I have someone stand up in their spot. And, it kind of progresses to the point where now they're ready to come on stage. They know it's a safe place to be and a safe place to participate.
So in the end, what's in it for you? What do you get out of it? Why do you like being a magician? What makes you passionate about what you do, or something, you know, that is, it has your attention. It's got your drive.
Well, it's kind of that, that's continuing on that same progression. It gets to the point now where the audience is now having a great time, and together, me and the audience we're ready to go somewhere that we haven't been before. My background is in improvisation, and so I'm ready to create a show that I've never done before for that audience, if they're ready to come with me. That is my thrill, to be able to improvise within the context of a magic show.
You have a killer trick for us today, and I'm in love. I love the trick. However, it is neither impromptu nor random, but it is one of the greatest effects there is. I love it. And you guys watching, I'll put a link in the description where you can print this off and where you can get this, but you got to check this out. Ryan, you want to show us this, the shuffle prophecy?
Sure thing. So yeah, this is it's a Simon Aronson trick. Fortunately, it's not a Zoom friendly trick because it requires people to actually physically shuffle the cards. They are in control. So I'm going to demonstrate it, but I can't technically perform it.
Okay, let's rock and roll.
All right, let's roll. You can walk up to someone and say, would you like to do something you've never done before and will never ever do again? Right here, right now. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to have two people do things that they've never thought they could possibly do. You each get to share. I'm going to give about half the deck over to this person and about half the deck over to this person. And I simply ask them to shuffle the cards. They shuffle the cards and I stare at them with great anticipation. I'm so excited about them shuffling the cards. Do you feel anything? Of course, they look at me like I'm an idiot, which is a common theme in my magic. Just by shuffling the cards, you've done something that no other human has ever done before. You see, there's enough playing cards in a deck that the different orders of those cards are never going to be repeated in human history. I know it's mind-boggling if you get into this. There's like 68 quadrillion billion something other octillion ways to shuffle a deck of cards. So the fact that you've shuffled those cards, you put them in an order that does not exist in any other place on Earth. Wow. Congratulations. So let's do that again. Again, you've changed the fate of the world by shuffling up these cards. You can do that as much as you like. Many years ago, there was a fellow, Simon of Winchester, and he was like the Nostradamus of his town. And for the most part, it's nonsense. I don't believe in this kind of stuff, but being interested in playing cards, this one stuck out to me. It's Simon's Shuffle Prophecy. See, he had this vision about a deck of cards and talking about how all these different random chances coming together into this. Let me read you what he wrote. Playing cards of fortune and chance. Your choices make your circumstance. In this game of knaves and kings, what power truly pulls the strings? So it shall be upon the day when cards are turned every which way, though they be mixed and cut and dealed, still Lady Fate shall be revealed. Well, we're halfway there. We've shuffled. We need to cut. You cut the cards, and they would cut the cards, and this person would cut the cards, and turned every which way. So they can pick whichever pile, but we just trade, and we start making an even bigger mess, and we can shuffle those now face up into face down. And then we can trade packets again and shuffle. So this is total chaos, completely in their control. This is Simon's brilliant trick. And eventually, we are ready to take this mess and join it with this mess. Some people call that marriage. So certainly now we have a deck of cards that is unlike any other deck of cards on the planet. And you were here to witness it, Jamie.
Happy to be here for the 68 quadrillionth possibility.
So that's it. It's a creation of all of us together here. So let's see what Simon had to say about this deck of cards. So he made a series of predictions. This, the prophecy of Revelation. It says 23 cards shall be turned facewards to the light. Ooh, it's old-timey talk for face up. Facewards towards the light. 23 cards, he says. Well, let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Crazy.
That's interesting. That's okay. Well, don't worry about those. Let's see what Simon's got for us next. This is like 600 years in the making. This could be it. The prophecy of darkness. 14 cards. They be black as the night. Ooh. 14 cards, black as the night. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards, black as the night.
That's incredible.
And I didn't do this. This is all these fine people. Sorry for, I don't know what I just touched, but finally, the prophecy of riches is what we go to fortune tellers for. Of the reds, all shall be diamonds most pure. And look at this. Diamond, 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 diamond. Almost diamond. That's not bad. For like 600 years, missing it by one? This is still incredible.
It is still incredible.
We just have the queen. That's it. Which is interesting because Simon made one last prophecy. He said, "Except for the queen, of this I am sure." Wow.
Love this trick. That is so good. That is so good. I love the story. I love everything about it. Like I said, I'll put a link in there. You can get your own. You can print these out and just, it tells you how to fold them, everything. It's a really spectacular trick.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear. This is absolutely Simon Aronson's trick called shuffleboard, and I haven't changed the trick at all. But what I've added is a different story. I think of it as a new paint job on a trick. So this shuffle prophecy is my creation. I wrote it. I created the booklet. I used to be a graphic designer as a business. So I made this booklet. Although even the booklet is not necessarily my idea. It's all an evolution. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Ali Bongo was the first person to have a folded prediction to go with Simon's trick. And Simon liked that so much. Simon made a version. And he called it the... what is it? It's like the statistics of shuffling. Okay, and he goes through this little booklet, and it's like in 16% of cases, there will be 23 face-up cards. In 38% of cases, there will be all these, and it's just a different story.
It's any kind of trick like this is all about the story. For example, if you were to do this trick to me, and it was exactly the same as I heard it from somebody else, that's, you're just taking their ideas. Taking something like this and turning it, I can't give you enough credit. I really do. I love this thing. But turning it into that, and the story is what makes the whole thing. It makes the effect not just a trick. It makes it it's something that's impossible, right? Yeah. Especially with 68 quintillion possibilities, right? You know, we were talking or texting earlier in the week, and I don't know if it was in the interview. I don't remember when I brought it up, but I got to do live magic for somebody or a couple of people, and I believe it was you that I told I did the card to
Yeah,
pocket.
you're talking on a street performance.
So when you mentioned that you did pretty much the exact same trick, right? I thought about it. I'm like, well, I don't like that he does the exact same trick, right? And so I thought about it. I'm like, what could I do to change it from what I do it? Just to add one extra step so it's not the same thing. So it was on my mind after you said it. So I actually came up with a way, and I'm not going to do the trick for you, but at the end, for the last time, I'll show you just kind of quickly. So their card is right there, right? And you're holding it near your pocket, where the pocket is supposed to go, right? And you give it a little shake like that, and it goes. Well, that wasn't a very good palm, but hard to do when I'm sitting. So you shake that, right? And it goes, and then you can pull it out of your pocket with just a one-handed top palm, but you can see it visibly in front of you, and it just magically just vaporizes away, and you look, it's not there, and then you pull it out of your pocket. So I'm giving credit to you for that. And it looks really, really good. I did it a few times on tape just to see how good it was. And it really, when you're standing up, like it's not good in a sitting position, but when you're standing up and it's sitting there right by the pocket and you're staring at it, staring, and then this little jiggle and it's gone. And it's signed in your pocket.
I love that. I love that.
I give you credit for that because I thought of that after you said I do the same trick.
So, okay, so I want to talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Because people say, oh, how do you be an original magician or a creative magician? Exactly like that. This is my theory. Not my theory, but I believe that great magicians are made one choice at a time. And your performance, your presentation is the sum of all those choices you make. So when you buy a video and you learn a trick and you do it exactly like the person in the video, that is one choice that you've made. You've chosen that trick as it is. Mm-hmm. But you're doing it and you're like, oh, well, it works better for me if I do a top palm instead of a side slip. Mm-hmm. Okay, well now that's two choices and it's becoming more you. And you can just keep on making those choices. That's I love that you did that. You made that simple one choice. I want to do something different. Here's something different. And you're becoming step by step. So you make enough of those choices and the routine becomes unimaginable.
I love creativity. That is my favorite part about magic. I love to make gimmicks. I say it all the time. It's one of my favorite things to do. I hardly ever use them. I do once in a while. I have a couple that I use. But I love the mind space that making them puts me in. When I come up with something, and even like that, just being creative, it's stuck in my mind. You said that, it's stuck in my mind, and I'm like, I'm not okay with that, right? Mm-hmm. And so that got me into creative thinking. How do I change this? What am I going to do before I have him on the show? What am I going to do to change this so that it's not the same thing? And that's what I did. That's what happened to me, and that's what I hope. Part of the thing about this show is giving this information to people and people recognizing things that will help them, right? Things they didn't think of. And that's what it's all about right there. It gives people the ability to be creative. And that's why I like books over videos, because when you're reading a book, especially a magic book, you're not reading it word for word. You're going through it and you understand what's going on. It gives you general knowledge as you go through the book. And every once in a while you come across a gem and you want to get into it. But by doing that, you're not blatantly taking somebody's performance off a DVD and just copying it, right? So from books, you have more of a tendency to make up your own stuff because...
Yeah, I think just by learning a trick from a book versus that video, through the book, you're automatically making more choices. Yes. So you're forced to make more choices to learn that trick because you have to decipher, you have to interpret what the book means.
Why don't you tell me about how do we get a hold of you if we want to hire you? How does somebody, or what do you have going on? What do you selling? Do you have an ebook? Do you have a video? Do you have a lecture? What do you want to plug yourself? Go nuts, plug yourself, whatever you got.
Sure, yeah. I'm the worst at this because I don't like, anyway. I share my tips and tricks for magicians. I assume this will be mostly magicians watching this. Mm-hmm. So that's the first stop. Go to mymagictips.com. And I share videos and ideas like the shuffle prophecy was something I shared through there. I have a series, actually. If you go to mymagictips.com/welcome, you can subscribe to my newsletter, and I've queued up my greatest hits album for you. So I've got like 7 of my favorite videos or favorite ideas that I've shared. How to this super practical table that I take everywhere. What else is in there? Some beginners tricks that I think are ignored and they shouldn't be. A couple different printable tricks, a whole bunch of things. But if you sign up for my newsletter, then you're just going to be able to get all the stuff that I share. I'm not big on selling stuff. I give away a lot of good stuff for free. I don't think everything needs to be sold in magic. So mymagictips.com.
I've been a fan ever since I saw my my name up there when you did an article on my show. I thought that was kind of cool.
Right, because I love the idea of this show. I think it's such a great idea in the show to celebrate the magic in our own community. Mm-hmm. I don't think we need to be such hero worshipers in magic that we are.
I think it's better for us to make each other better. Simple reason being, if say in my community, if somebody gets hired as a magician to go do a show and they do a poor job, the chances of me getting a job there are gone because they have no faith, right? Whereas if we help everybody get better and people enjoy their experiences, they're going to want it again, and they're going to want to see more. And when they're approached, they're going to be much more open to it, right? So I think I give away free information to other magicians. If they want help with anything, I'm willing to help. And by helping them, it makes everybody else better. So do you have any last insights for us, or anything you want to share?
A challenge.
Okay.
I have a challenge for you. For your audience out there.
Okay.
So this shuffle prophecy trick is a story to go with a really good trick. And the way that I created this was I took what already existed and I tried to make it more. I tried to make it play bigger and make it more, just more interesting, more weird, more something. And so that's my challenge. I want you to take a trick and make the way you present it more anything. Because as I said, magicians tend to be shy, a little bit reserved, a little bit quiet. So make your trick more fast. Make your trick more gibberish. Make your trick more, I don't know, visual. Make it more visual, or make it more, just pick an adjective and try and push it further and see what you can do.
So take the challenge, give this a try, maybe film a little bit of video and post it either here on YouTube or on Facebook, and let everybody see what you have. Very simple and very, that's a great challenge. So let's see what they come up with. So Ryan, I want to thank you for being on the show. You're very funny and very entertaining. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been The Best Magicians You Have Never Heard Of with Ryan Pilling, and now you've heard of him. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.